Live from JMT Studios, it's time for Two Jersey Kids, the best video game podcast on the planet.
What's up, all you Jersey kids out there? This is episode 65 of the gaming podcast, Two Jersey Kids. I am your host, Adam Buckingham. Alongside me, as always, is my best friend, the best stick handler in the business, Gary Seisel. How you doing today, buddy?
Excelente. I'm doing good. I'm a little drained. Actually, not really drained. I'm still excited for this podcast, but I'm feeling the effects of streaming and then working afterwards. It's sort of taken its toll, but I am nonetheless excited to be here for this podcast and talking about gaming with my man Adam here.
So, how long do you actually work for after you stream, on average?
Well, it's not much. I mean, like 4 hours or so. But I'm sitting around a lot of time, and it kind of sucks. I hate sitting around. I hate. The thing is, like my other job, I work 2 jobs. One of which I work way more hours, which doesn't pay as well. But I do more. I'm working. I'm moving around. I'm helping people. I'm on my feet more. And then the other one seems so
quicker.
Exactly. And then the shorter hours on the other job it feels like the day drags on more and then I get more tired. So I'm starting to wake up now, actually, by talking and being here. So that's a good thing.
I'm glad for you. I hope you'll wake up more because you have some stories to talk about and we have some gaming news to discuss. But if you guys didn't know, if you're a new listener coming to the Two Jersey Kid podcast, we release episodes every Friday discussing everything going on in the video game industry, all the topics galore. Like last week, we talked about loot boxes being gambling and all that jazz. It was a fun episode. We actually released 2 episodes last week, a special Thanksgiving episode where we broke down the Game Awards. That's going to be happening next week. And then just a normal Two Jersey Kids episode on Friday. Me and Gary will always be here every Friday unless schedule permits us not to be here or we just end up dying from sickness because that seemed to happen to Gary a few weeks ago. And it almost got me this week because I had to actually take a chill pill from work because I just felt so deathly ill on Monday, actually. I think it was Monday. I woke up, I was fine, but I felt like I was having a cold. And then when I got to work where it's work, it's not really home, so you're not really relaxed or anything. I just felt so, just deathly ill. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I'm resting, putting my head down. It was just rough. It was not a fun experience.
I feel like there's some times where you just got to kind of mail it in. You wake up in the morning, you start to feel terrible, and it's one of those things where you got to put yourself in the perspective of other people at work. It's like, do you want someone coming in that's sick and feeling terrible?
Exactly.
That's what you got to think of it as, and then just act accordingly.
And I think it was all because the week prior I was on call, so I was kind of stressed out. I never really was able to calm down, quote unquote, I guess, just because I'm always have that thought, my phone going off in the back of my head. But then this week I finally was off call, so I was able to wind down. So I feel like my body just ended up saying, F you, now that you're calm, I'm just gonna throw this sickness on you, just so now you have to deal with that. But I'm feeling better. I'm feeling right as rain, I guess you could say. Still have a slight cough here and there, but I took some Mucinex, so when I cough it up, it's coming up. I hate when you start coughing, you have a cough, but you can't get any of it up. There's congestion, but nothing is coming up, so you feel like you're accomplishing nothing. You feel like if you just keep on coughing, you're end up just cough out your lung instead of the actual phlegm that's stuck in there.
Yeah,
Sucks.
it's and then you end up with a sore throat, and
yes.
That's really annoying. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I feel the pain.
Oh, the worst is when you're you have a cough, but you also have a sore throat at the same exact time.
I just hate, the thing I hate most is when you have the sore throat, but then you've been coughing for so long that your entire body starts to hurt, your whole chest area. Oh my God, that's terrible.
Your body's just making you think oh man, I wish I had abs so it didn't hurt as much. I wish I went to the gym more when it came to abs. Yeah, it's just when it starts working out your obliques. Those are the hardest thing to actually get when you go to the gym. Your obliques. I think you have to do a bunch of side crunches and shit. It's always a pain in the ass.
Indeed. Abs are hard, man. Core workouts are my dreaded. They're my nemesis, I think.
They're the hardest things to do. They're just painful, realistically.
Pure exhaustion, dude. Oh my God.
But for my advice from my brother, who's basically a gigantic, I don't want to call him a meathead because he's not really a meathead now. He works in a financial company, so he's not really a meathead. But he He, is into working out and all physique and physical fitness, and he always says that most of the time when it comes to abs and everything, 85% of it is what you eat. So if you eat healthy, eat just like, because I noticed it when I was actually on Whole30, where I felt like my stomach was slimming down more, is when I was just eating proper, just like proteins, proper fats, because you're allowed to have fats, you just need the actual proper fats, not like the saturated crap that you see like in Oreos or some random other crap out there. But yeah, I don't know where we got off on this tangent. Oh, coughing, sick, abs.
We're not just a gaming podcast. We offer life advice, advice.
We also rant about our favorite sports teams, and I know Gary's probably not feeling too hot about his favorite sport team right now. They're struggling a tiny bit, just a tiny bit.
It's getting harder and harder to care about the Flyers right about now. The Philadelphia Flyers, that is, for people that aren't familiar. But yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that because it's not really a proper place for this. But
are you sure? I mean, people love hearing us rant. You want to just rant and rave about your Flyers, then you can just sort of tie it all into you streaming and getting destroyed by France.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not going to rant too much. At this point, it's such a. It seems to be a common thing with the Flyers where they start off. Mm-hmm. Well, typically they start off terrible and then they come around and then they get better and then they may or may not make the playoffs. That's been the trend for the past 10 years. Now this season
they fall off a cliff. I feel like that's what also happens.
Oh yeah. Well, this year though they started out hot and then cooled off unbelievably, and now they've lost 9 games straight. Well, they have a 9-game winless streak going on. They've gotten points during that time span, so it hasn't been a complete disgusting display of ineptitude, but yeah, that's beside the point. So
if you guys didn't know, hockey terms, points is if you actually get into overtime, you automatically get a point. If you win, you get 2 points. Overtime, 1 point, lose 0. If you don't go into overtime, you just lose in regular time. Just to point it out.
There you go. So yeah, it's been a tough go of things in the sports realm, but we'll tie it into the Twitch streaming, which I've been doing recently. So yeah, it's been interesting. I've been streaming now for a few months, and I'm actually 5 followers away from 50 right now, which would be
Twitch affiliate. The money is just gonna start rolling in.
Quitting both my jobs, buying a house. We're good.
With the $5 a month that you put to yourself.
Yeah, buddy. I'll subscribe to myself, no doubt. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun recently. So this is, I guess, we're getting into the gaming aspect of our lives now. I've been playing a lot of Civ 5 on stream lately. Had some interesting streams this past week. We've had a lot of new people show up into the stream. They've been following, kind of showing up stream after stream, talking to me. I've been chatting with them. They've been laughing at my complete misery when I came down to fighting Napoleon in a domination death match. I ended up getting destroyed by 12 nuclear bombs. That was not too pleasant, but also hilarious.
Did he just bomb one city, or was he strategically placed all throughout your civilization?
He went like one at a time and then started bombing like random areas, and I was just like, I was laughing at one point, just laughing hysterically. It was just so ridiculous, but yeah, you think Gandhi would be the guy, but no, I destroyed Gandhi. I destroyed Alexander the Great. No problem. But Napoleon, dude, he just like steamrolled me. Endless. What's up?
Was his forces just too much comparatively, I guess?
His troops weren't that impressive, but I opened up the can of worms, so to speak, when I decided that I was basically screwed. He had taken one of my cities. I'm like, I don't give a damn. I want to make all these nuclear weapons and bomb everybody on the map before I die. So I bombed him twice, and then bombed like countless other civilizations, and then he just nukes me 12 times. So it's like,
that's your issue, man. You shouldn't have bombed any other civilizations. You should have just went all for him.
Oh, it was, yeah, I guess you're right, but it was still.
It should have drug him down with you.
It was still great though. It was still hilarious to watch. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I guess aside from Civ 5, I've been dabbling in Battlefield 1. I ended up buying that in the Black Friday sale last week.
A game you already own on PlayStation 4, but you know, Gary is a puppet.
But it feels great on PC. It feels really good. I've been having a lot of fun with friends too, because now we basically all play on PC. So it's been fun playing that game again, getting back into it. It's been a nice distraction from what Destiny 2 has sort of devolved into recently, which we'll discuss later on in the podcast. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it with my life. Adam, I know, has had an interesting week, I'm assuming. Adam, what do you gotta say about your gaming experiences?
Interesting, so to speak. Not too much when it came to gaming. I mean, because I've been playing UFC 2, so my character, Adam the King Buckingham, ended up capturing championship gold. It took 15,000 restarts, but I was able to capture it. Not that many restarts, but I had to, because they have this weird system where it's like adaptive AI, where you get farther and farther, and they progress the AI system, so they different difficulty settings. I'm like, no, I finally changed it to normal settings. I just want to keep it even kill. So if I do get good, I want to just be good against these players, and then maybe later on when I get more used to it, I'll do that. But there was some dude in lightweight, Donald Cerrone. He actually still fights, Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh yeah.
Freaking wreck shop, like, because the thing that I have with UFC 2 is like nothing feels as fluid. It feels like it kind of feels like what you would see all the time, people commenting about Castlevania, the old Castlevania game, where you actually had to click and then the whip goes. Whereas this, it feels like when you're trying to snap out a jab, which I constantly do, I'm just like flinging them out there, trying to just basically destroy the other opponent's right eye. I just throwing it out, but it's never completely, it doesn't feel like super responsive, which kind of annoys me, but I still love the game because I always knock people out with like roundhouse kicks, and I started getting better at ground game, so when I would inevitably getting taken down, because I could never stop a takedown, even though I do the button combinations to stop it, my guy just says, nope, you can take me down, sure. So I always just try to get on their back and then on top of them and just start, because my hands are the max for the weight class, so I just start landing bombs, and I was able to actually cheat the because you have to go through the training simulation, like, you know how in Fight Night where they had that bullshit get your power up, you had to play the mini game with like the weights lifting and everything.
Yeah,
you remember that? And so this one was just getting better at your ground game, like ground and pound. So you had to like pass their guard and then get on top, and the more you pass, the better you get. So I was able to, on hard difficulty, which I didn't expect because my guy is garbage on the ground, but I was able to get around the guard and get in like top mount. I don't know if anybody out there knows the terminology, where you pass their guard, you're basically, their legs aren't wrapped around you, your legs are on top of them basically. So it's only their hands that are basically between your hands and their face, unlike, before they have legs in between. So I was able to just do like the simple, because you can go, you do top position, and then the guy will pull you in. And then you flick up real quick, you pop back up, you get an extra like 100 points. So I had to get over 800, but I just kept going back and forth. Like he never pushed me back to a different guard position. I was consistently on top mount, so I just kept doing it back and forth. It was kind of funny. So I just ended up just racking up points in that, so then I can easily simulate it later on, so I can get better at my top game, which the only purpose I do that is because I always get taken down, so then I want to be able to just land bombs on top. So I was able to defeat Donald Cerrone that way, which I was happy about because he took me down all the time. And the reason I have issues with the fluidity is because the computer makes it seem so easy. They're just throwing things left and right, combinations like galore, and I'm just sitting here trying to throw combinations, and then I hit a button too early or too late, and then I'm just throwing a random kick and losing stamina when the guy is, 15 feet away from me. What's up?
Well, it's really funny you mentioned that, because today, while I was streaming, I was actually talking to a guy. His name is Garn Daddy, by the way, at Garn Daddy on Twitter. He's actually a streamer if you want to watch. But he was playing UFC 3, the beta, I believe.
Yeah, I saw that was coming out, and that game looks actually so much more fluid. It looks amazing.
But the funny thing is, I was talking to him about EA and their weird thing where they've made games so realistic now that they don't feel as good. And he was even saying that in that beta, it still didn't feel as perfect as he wanted it to, and
yeah.
it seems to be an EA thing. Like NHL, the skating always feels kind of clunky, kind of sluggish. It doesn't seem true to form to what real life is, and it's interesting. I was saying, like, I don't know if the technology just isn't there quite yet to have the physics up to snuff and everything, but It's just unfortunate that seems to be a recurring theme in a lot of games. But
honestly, this UFC 3 looks a lot better than UFC 2, and I feel like the fact that they've taken 2 years off instead of just one and pushing it out makes it look a lot better. They have like new revamped grappling systems and everything. Your mind was blown or something, Gary. What happened?
Imagine you take 2 years off, you give yourself time to recuperate and improve things, and you can make a better product. Imagine that. That's crazy.
They just want to resell. They just want to constantly resell and make a profit, man. They're a large company. They can do whatever they damn well please, even if they piss people off.
Evidently.
But yeah,
that is the case.
My UFC fighter, Adam the King Buckingham, ended up capturing lightweight gold. I'm waiting to defend my belt multiple times, and then they'll ask me to transition to either strawweight or welterweight. I think I'm going to go down because that's where McGregor is, so I'm going to take out that Irish bastard, take him out. Conor McGregor, I'm coming for you. You're going down, even though he's probably even better now in the newest game. But, so, yeah, I'm excited. I took the title from Khabib, who, yeah, I don't want to get into UFC news. This is not a UFC podcast. Even though, like, I realize, like, I'm such, like, I don't focus on one exact thing that I'm into. Like, I'm just so, like, one day I'm, like, into, like, MMA. I'm interested in listening to podcasts about that. And then I get a little tired of hearing the same thing over and over. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, going back to football or basketball, it's going on. Or then video games. It's like, my brain and my interests are just tossed up. And that's why I feel like I just like being able to talk on this podcast where it's specifically games, but I can still rant about what I'm interested in and things along that nature. Because it just feels like it would be really difficult for me to focus in on one specific topic. Mind you, this is a video game podcast, but still, I get to talk to my best friend about random things.
It's a grab bag podcast. There you go.
But mostly focused on video games. I just want to point at that. You remember, now that we're 16 minutes in, I want to remind you can follow the podcast at Two Jersey Kids. That's about it. We release every Friday. Please, on iTunes, give us a rating. If you give us a 5-star rating, we'll be sure to read it on the show. And I did mention that if we get to 1,000 somehow, in godforsaken future, I'll read all 5-star ratings throughout the whole thing. Because I heard a podcast did that and it was fucking insane. But yet he got to 1,000, so I was like, all right, I'll throw it in there. I'll put myself through torture if we get to 1,000. But now it's time to actually get into This Week in Gaming, brought to you by Gatorade.
Yeah, all right. The first game is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, released on Windows, PS4, and Xbox One in 2015. Now, per Wikipedia, I have the game synopsis in case you're unfamiliar with the franchise or the game itself. The game puts heavy emphasis on environmental destruction and cooperation between players. Players assume control of an attacker or a defender in different gameplay modes, such as hostage rescuing and bomb defusing. The title has no campaign, but features a series of short missions that can be played solo. These missions have a loose narrative, focusing on recruits going through training to prepare them for future encounters with the White Masks, a terrorist group that threatens the safety of the world. Now, this is the 11th entry into the Rainbow Six series and the successor to Rainbow Six Patriots, which I've been told had a greater focus on narrative and story. Overall, the game received positive reviews, which I think were around like 75 out of 100 on Metacritic, somewhere around that ballpark. The game was praised for its multiplayer and focus on teamwork and tactics, but also criticized for its lack of content and progression system. Now, apparently, the initial sales to this game were kind of slow. For those reasons, for the lack of progression and the lack of content. But apparently, the Rainbow Six Siege sales actually doubled because of their free downloadable content that they released later on. So imagine, people, free content to games actually improve sales. Who would have thought?
Do you think that's what stands it out between like this and like Battlefront, where people were criticizing Battlefront for no campaign, where Rainbow Six is specifically, admittedly, only an online-specific shooter, and maybe they try to build it around, free DLC and a tight control system, tight gameplay, I guess.
It definitely, I think, divides. It definitely shows the difference between two companies and how they operate. I mean, yeah, Battlefront 2, that had a massive problem with microtransactions and all that jazz, which we've discussed in previous episodes. But this game decided to take, I guess, a different route, go with the free content, and I think free content in reality just improves a relationship with your customer. If you look in the example of Fortnite, which I actually got back into playing recently, or actually last night, not recently. But yeah, I was playing it last night, and that game has so much free stuff in it. I mean, they added in customization, leaderboards, different weapons, game mechanics, everything. And it amazes me the attention that they put to that game, and it's all free. I mean, and you see the difference between a game like that and a game like Destiny, for example, where you have Fortnite, which is like the free game. They pay attention to it. They listen to their fans. They put time and effort into it. And you see all these customers, how happy they are. Then you see Destiny. It's complete opposite, complete reverse of such things. But anyway, that has been This Week in Gaming, brought to you by Gatorade. Rainbow Six Siege, good game. Played the beta. But yeah. This Week in Gaming, people.
You only got one, Gary?
Yeah, only one game this week. I didn't want to put two in there. I didn't see any other games that were really like that unbelievably interesting. I know there was Just Cause 3 was in there. I know that's a big game. A lot of people like it, but I've talked about it before in this segment, and frankly, didn't really feel like talking about it again. But yeah, so Rainbow Six Siege. That's the game.
I'm proud of you, Gare. Don't give shit to the Jersey kids, am I right? If you don't believe in what you're selling, don't sell it in the first place. What am I saying? Before we roll into the news, because, we're about to roll into the news. Gary, did you hear the big news in the TV realm this week? The exciting news. Have you heard?
Not really. Please tell me what the news is.
The fantastic return of a TV show? You haven't heard this?
No.
The two Jersey kids? Jersey Shore is coming back, G. Jersey Shore family vacation. Mark it in your calendar. It's finally making a comeback. It's giving us Jersey folks a bad name, making it even worse. But I gotta love the stupidity of the show, and the fact that they're calling it family vacation is fucking ridiculous.
I honestly can't believe what I'm hearing right now. I'm not even kidding. By the way, people, anyone that's listening right now, this is not fake surprise. This is genuine stun right here. Why? Why is this show returning? There was funny enough, I remember watching some sort of sports event. It might have been college softball, maybe, or maybe like Little League. And apparently the kids on the team thought that everyone from New Jersey, they were facing some New Jersey team, and they're like, oh, we thought they were all going to be like the people from Jersey Shore. No! Do you see the people in Jersey Shore? You have Ronnie, who looks like a goddamn wall. The guy's gigantic.
That's like my brother. That's how I could relate to that show, is Ronnie was basically my brother. But
he didn't have roid rage, did he? Did he ever abuse women? I don't think he ever did.
No, he never did.
He didn't knock a guy out on the boardwalk for absolutely no reason whatsoever?
No.
Oh, my God. What a disaster, dude. I can't believe the show's coming back, man.
The thing is that people always say is like, oh yeah, people from Jersey are like that show, and like the only person that's actually from Jersey was Sammy's sweetheart, and she's actually not in this. She's not coming back. Yeah. But everybody else is from either New York or Rhode Island. They're not from Jersey. That's why it's called Jersey Shore, as they're coming to the Jersey Shore.
And let's not get this twisted whatsoever, okay? The people that are from like New York and all that stuff, like North Jersey, it's so different from the people that are in South Jersey. I'm just throwing it out there. Like South Jersey and North Jersey, two different places. The Jersey Shore down south, it's a different world down there, man. But of course, we get some people that gotta come down. Yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs. I don't know.
Honestly, I love the Jersey Shore.
It's hilarious.
City, Wildwood.
It's just a train wreck. You just can't look away, man.
No, I'm talking about the actual shores, but yeah, I love the show too. Cape May is the jam. But I digress. Before we get again into I want to throw this Jeopardy question that apparently two contestants just botched badly, and I want to think that you would be able to get this, Gary. It's a pretty easy question. It's a Jeopardy quote: the desire in this childhood to catch every insect the desire in his childhood to catch every insect inspired Satoshi Terhara to create this 1996 game. Catch every insect. Catch them all.
Oh, Pokemon.
God damn it, Gary. It took you that long?
I thought for a second it might have been, but then I'm like, insect? It didn't sound familiar. It didn't ring a bell for me. I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon guy.
He has to catch every insect, so that's how he got to Pokemon. But I just like the fact that two other people, one answered centipedes, and the other one answered what is splat.
All right, first of all, I wasn't that bad though.
I think she wagered $6,000 on the answer of splat.
Oh my god. What is Medal of Honor? Like, come on, guys.
Oh my god, this actually moving to the news. Nintendo apparently adds an amiibo to breakfast with the new Super Mario cereal. A breakfast cereal that doubles as an amiibo figure called Super Mario Cereal. It looks like a fairly standard sugary cereal complete with marshmallows in the shape of iconic Super Mario items like a 1-Up mushroom and newcomer Cappy. But the more interesting aspect is the box itself. It works as an amiibo. Nintendo's line of NFC-enabled toys that can interact with games by tapping them on the console. According to Nintendo, tapping the box on your Switch while playing Super Mario Odyssey will unlock extra coins or hearts in the game.
Cross promotion. There you have it, folks. No, it's actually a smart scheme we got going on here. Also good to get kids into it because of the cereal.
You remember when you would get stuff in the cereal box and you were always so happy, like, oh yeah, the toy looks so cool in the box, and then it was just absolute garbage because they just made like a 5-cent worth item, and then it broke within a matter of seconds.
I can't agree more with the cereal, but I will say this right now, okay?
Uh-oh.
Anybody remember the real old the McDonald's and Burger King toys? Those things were insane, dude. Some of them were nice. Some of them were kind of cool back in the day. Like
they were actually legit. Some of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I remember, speaking of Pokemon, I remember I think it was some sort of Pokemon toy.
Was it like a flat wall?
No.
I had one where it was a flat wall and like Pikachu was like engraved into it, and you hit the button and it would say Pikachu.
Well, no, there was the one I'm thinking of. I remember it because I have these episodes of SpongeBob taped from years ago. It was like during the summer.
Of course you do, Gary.
Hell yeah. And yeah, in this, I love the videos because it has all the commercials on them. It's classic shit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you see, there's like this Burger King toy where it was like a Pokemon card that you would kind of plug into it was almost like you would push it into like a mount. I guess it would have it on a stand and it would light up or something.
Interesting.
It was some cool stuff, man. But those things were cool. I feel like they don't do that anymore.
I remember getting like the toy Pokeballs where they would pop up, which was pretty rad. They would never. I mean, I would throw them at shit. It wouldn't catch anything. God damn it! I expected a light beam to come out and just capture an insect, which I thought would be rad.
False advertised.
But that's why I liked watching because I had old Mighty Morphin Power Rangers taped. Watching like the whole old BS commercials were hilarious. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I remember those. Just like the teacher like yelling at the kids. I don't even remember the actual plot of the actual commercial. I just remember the one teacher. They would always have like they couldn't believe the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and they would always have like crazy large glasses, and they would zoom in on the face.
Man, I miss those days.
Oh my god!
I actually know the best. Okay, I don't want to get off in pop culture here, but the best thing about those videos too is it was like they would show the best, like the best song of the week or the month or something that people would vote on, and it'd always be like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or Britney Spears, and it was just, I'm like, man, oh my god, those days, dude, that was some good times.
Do you know that Now is still going on? Like the Now songs, do you remember those?
Unfortunately. Remember Kids Bop too? It was always like Eminem. They had like Eminem Lose Yourself on Kids Bop. Jesus Christ.
I never realized, like when I was growing up, it took me a little while to realize that Kids Bop was actually kids singing the songs.
Yeah.
Like for some reason I never realized that until I got like into my teens. I was like, oh shit, maybe I kind of want to, I look on the back of like a Kids Bop label. I'm like, oh, they have some good songs here. And I'm like, oh wait. Shit, kids are actually singing this. No thanks.
They're heavily censored and they're terrible. They're not even songs anymore that people are singing. Yeah,
could you just imagine kids just dropping F-bombs in the Eminem songs? That'd be hilarious.
I would buy it. I would buy the CD.
Shall I move on?
Sure.
Do you have any more toy topics to discuss before we move on?
I'm spent on toys, man.
I just remember that Pikachu toy that I had ended up getting tossed into the pool, and I was very upset as a young child. I kind of cried over it because it just ended up dying. I think it was like 6 at the time. Maybe 6
Sad
or 7.
times.
Sad times when you lose a toy, even though I had like 15 bajillion toys out there, so I was kind of spoiled. But moving on to the state of Destiny 2. Bungie outlined future content plans for Destiny 2, including a new tier of weapons, private matches for player versus player battles, and a better reward system for strike adventures and lost sectors. And in the end, they wanted to address the criticism they have been receiving in their most recent blog post. Quote, with Destiny 2 console and PC launches behind us, we want to take some time to talk with you about Destiny 2, specifically where it's at today and where it's going. Our team has been reading feedback and working on updates to improve the game. We also been reading some tough criticisms about our lack of communication, and we agree we need to be more open. Going forward, Destiny 2's post-launch game systems, features, and updates are being designed specifically to focus on and support players who want Destiny to be their hobby, the game they return to, and a game where friendships are made. We want Destiny to be a game that fits into your life, providing you with reasons to log in and play with your friends, clans, and families. We want Destiny to be a world you want to be a part of. A month ago, we published a list of improvements on the blog. Today, we're going to revisit that list and update its status and share some of the work the team is readying for December, January, and beyond. We know it's frustrating when there isn't enough of a dialogue with the development team. You have our commitment that we're going to do a better job going forward, end quote. Some of the new features will be implemented on December 5th with the launch of the upcoming downloadable content Curse of Osiris, whatever.
You got
Others will go live on December 12th, and a few more will be available in January. One new addition will be, quote-unquote, masterwork weapons, which the studio says will have, quote, stack trackers, random re-rollable stat bonuses, unique item tooltips, and item detail screens, end quote. Bungie is also adding armor ornaments as a more permanent version of the cosmetic customization, allowing players to deck out their character's gear without worrying about consuming shaders. Xur is going to start selling three of coins again, whatever that means. A simpler version this time, Bungie says, as well as an item called the Fated Engram that turns into an exotic you don't currently own. Bungie says it's prioritizing private matches and ranked PvP for launch in 2018. We already knew private matches were coming, but this is the first we've heard of ranked mode. Ranked PvP is easily the most requested feature for hardcore competitive players. Honestly, Gary, I'm a little shocked that it's not in there already. The controversial XP system will be changed once again. Quote, we already see that the newly adjusted 160k XP per level value means that leveling is too slow for some activities, and we have begun the process of collecting data and recalibrating XP earn rates to improve them as quickly as possible, end quote. The Bungie has a message going for the future. Quote, going forward, we plan to continue this dialogue as openly and frequently as possible. This will be an ongoing process, but one that we are committed to. This week, we'll be publishing a new episode of Bungie Podcast where we will sound off on the current state of Destiny 2, how we think about our communication challenges, and what it takes to update the game in the wild. You'll be able to listen on both Apple and Android devices. Thank you for playing, for being passionate about Destiny 2 experience, and for working with us as we look into continuously improve our game and studio communication. End quote. Gary, since you're a big Destiny 2 lover, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's a lot of things here. The thing is, I appreciate their blog post. It's been 3 months. Well, yeah, 3 months now since they released this game, and it feels like their communications has been, quite frankly, terrible. So it's nice to see that they're kind of renewing their commitment to just, talking to the player base. I don't know if that
was their communication good in Destiny 1.
It was better than it has been, I'll tell you that much. It seemed like there was at least a dialogue between people or at least the gaming studio and the fans. At least, even if it was limited, it seemed better than it currently is, which is disappointing. I feel like Destiny 2 has come a long way. It's a far better base game than Destiny 1 was, but it's regressed so far in so many ways, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't know, but right now, I looked at this blog post, and I like what I'm seeing. I like the idea of private matches and PvP. I like the re-rollable weapon stats, masterwork weapons. That's great. That's all cool stuff. But what I'm really interested in seeing is the changes to the sandbox and the gameplay. I know that they're talking about next week when the Curse of Osiris expansion comes out. They're going to be talking about the gameplay mechanics and the sandbox tunings they're going to be making, and I'm interested to see the patch notes. So, because for me, at least, this patch is more important to me than the content. I feel like the game right now is in a weird state where it doesn't necessarily feel like Destiny with the long time to kill and or longer time to kill and the team shooting and the power ammo situation right now. I'm not trying to get too in depth here for people that don't really play Destiny, but I just feel like
man.
But yeah, I just feel like I'm waiting to see what these patch notes, what they do with this patch, and how they adjust the gameplay. Because right now, like, all the content in the world isn't going to change the fundamental issues with how the game behaves right now, and that's kind of where I stand. So we'll see. I mean, I've kind of taken the foot off the gas in Destiny 2 recently. I've been playing off and on. Last week I played Trials of Osiris, I guess, consistently for the first time, and we ended up going flawless with actually a random person. It was me, my friend Ben, and Gavin, and then a random dude who was really cool, and we went flawless and did well. And yeah, that was fun, but it just still doesn't feel quite up to snuff or quite where Destiny should be and where it was. So
are you going to hop in when these updates start rolling out to see if it finally feels like Destiny? Like, what exactly do they need to do to make it feel proper to you?
Well, Destiny 1, it allowed for more, I don't know, creativity. You could go one-on-one with people. You could fight. You could pull off crazy plays where, okay, so all of a sudden you're down, it's a 2v1, and you pick off one guy running at you with a sniper, and then you finish the other guy off with a hand cannon. In this game, if you run into more than one person at a time, 95% out of 100, 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be dead. There's just no way to combat the team shooting in this game. And it's cool that they want to emphasize team play, but you got to have it too, where two people can stand a chance against three people, or one person against two. Like, it's kind of hard to explain unless you play the game. But the way the game is right now, it's very passive, very conservative. No one really challenges each other. It's a lot of like, I'll shoot you and then run around a corner and hide. It's very slow like that, and I hope that they tweak it somewhat so it feels more frantic, more free flowing, more aggressive. That'd be my ideal version of Destiny. I know some people might disagree with me on that, but that's where I stand currently. I haven't bought the DLC yet. I haven't really committed on it yet, and I don't know. I just don't know yet. I'm waiting to see what the patch notes, what they show, and then maybe I'll pull the trigger.
In your end, do you think Bungie botched this so far? Or they has botched Destiny 2 so with their release and everything? Do you think
it's hard to say? I think to a certain degree they have botched it, because Destiny 2 is a great base game right now. They have a really good foundation that they didn't have with Destiny 1. Now, the problem is that a lot of things that were in Destiny 1 were just inexplicably removed, like weaponry rolling. That was part of Destiny 1. That was removed towards the end of Destiny 1 for no reason whatsoever. A lot of people were pissed off by it. And they're bringing it back now. And it just seems like, now you're trying to grab our money. Now you're trying to put this in a new DLC and get us to spend money for stuff we've already done before. And that's just where I am. And it's just very frustrating. Like 3 of Coins, that was in Destiny 1. They're bringing it back now. Ranked PvP is great and all, but again, if the PvP isn't fun or isn't good, then what the hell's the point of ranked PvP? I don't understand. There's changes that need to be made here.
Do you think they're just not listening to the consumer as much, or there was a sort of a disconnect? Because
I always feel like
with a studio as large as Bungie, who has like 750 people, I guess, in the development studio, I feel like it would be hard for them to hear every sort of criticism and include everything. They sort of have to get, because it's such a massive game, so many people are working on it, they sort of have to, I would feel like, get their ducks in a row, get their everything in a line for when they release these updates and make sure it's proper. I feel like that things may get lost in the shuffle, not as, high up a priority list, that maybe they fall by the wayside, like what people enjoy. And I'm wondering if there needs to be an initiative on their end, if when they plan on releasing Destiny 3 or Destiny 4 or future updates. It's like maybe they need to start focusing on also what people enjoy, because it seemed like towards the end of Destiny 1 they started to, I don't know, it seemed like they were clicking with you. Am I right, Gary, with what they were updating? Or to
some degree. There were some things they did towards the end of Destiny 1 that kind of didn't make sense to me, in terms of PvP and stuff like that, some changes they made to gameplay. But the thing about Bungie is that this has happened before, and it's like, are they going to learn from their mistakes? I mean, it seems like they were communicating better in Destiny 1, but now we're here in Destiny 2, and we kind of have similar issues that we had with the original game for 3 years. You know, it's like, you just never know why they'll do things and they'll go way too far. They'll like completely botch something when it comes to patching it. And it's like, well, if you guys listen to what the people are saying, you would have understood where they wanted you to take it. You know, you could have, if you just listened more.
Well, I don't want to give like developers just shit on them constantly, because these games require there's a lot of things that go into these games. There's a lot of things probably running around in all these devs' heads that maybe they're not completely, focusing everything what the fans are saying, and maybe they say one thing and they're like, oh crap, we were just working multiple hours on this and now, or multiple days on doing this, so to speak. Because I'm sure changing a certain thing with like Xur doing the 3 coin thing, whatever that is, I'm sure that took a while to then change that back. Maybe they just, didn't quite understand the connection. Maybe they need a check off list. Say, hey, you like this? Check, keep it. I don't know. It just seems like maybe it's just because it's such a large game, a lot of people are working on it. I don't want to give them, crap on them constantly for not being able to talk to like individual indie devs that are able to. There's only a few people that are working on a game where you can talk to one person and it will get, peripheralated all throughout the 2 people that are working on an indie game. Unlike Bungie, where there's 700 people, you talk to one, say like, oh, I like this. You talk to them on a personal level. You think like, oh, maybe they'll, implement some change. But now it's, it's in a large pond. You make a small ripple. It may not reverberate all throughout it.
I mean, I agree. I just think that I don't think the Destiny fan base is upset by, this is going to take a couple months to complete, or hey guys, we're going to put private matches in or ranked PvP and we're going to drop that in January. I don't think they mind the work or the time it takes to put these things in. I just think that a lot of people that play the game want to know what is actually happening. It's like, people are complaining about certain systems in the game or stuff they don't like, and there's no answer whatsoever from developers or any of the community leaders that they have. And it's like, that gets frustrating, especially after a few months where they're, you see them making blog posts about the game and they're talking about the game, but they don't really address anything that's being said by the player base. That's very frustrating. And I'm glad to see that they seem to be somewhat more committed to doing this, or at least answering, feedback. But, I don't know. They have to walk the walk, so to speak.
So you think they need better PR managers, I guess you could say.
I mean, it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they need, maybe they need more people to do the job. I don't know. But this is a problem now that's been going on for a while as a Destiny fan.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see if they take into people considerations going forward. And I'm sure I'll be talking about it to you, because I have no experience when it comes to Destiny. Destiny 1, I had some. Destiny 2, I have none. So, moving on to this interesting story. So, apparently, Star Citizen, the ambitious collection of spacefaring games from Chris Roberts and his team at the Cloud Imperium Games, CIG, is now offering backers the opportunity to buy plots of virtual land. That's interesting. Neither the plots of land nor the planets they will be on are currently available. CIG said that land rights, which cost about $50 each, will entitle the purchaser to a single 4-kilometer square plot zone for either commercial, residential, or industrial use, as well as an in-game item with which to make their claim. No date has been given as to when land claims can be made. CIG states on the storefront page as a disclaimer, quote, "These land claims are being made available for pledging to help fund Star Citizen's development. The ability to obtain these claim licenses will ultimately be available for in-game credits and or otherwise earnable through play in the game. Pledging for these claim licenses now allows us to include deeper features in Star Citizen game and is not required for starting the game," end quote. Robert states also in the video that encompasses the storefront, quote, "We will be able to have whole worlds, planets, moons that you can walk all over that are rendered out of the kind of high-level first-person detail that we are going for in Star Citizen. A planet or a moon is going to feel pretty empty if you just have one location to go and visit," on it. So we've been very focused on what other things we could do on the planet, like building out an ecosystem, distributing resources. Ellipsis. We basically want to create a lot of gameplay for the huge amount of land that's now available. So yes, the designers and artists are building out the major locations and even secondary towns on some of these more populated planets. But wouldn't it be cool if we had some virgin moons or planets and players could go there and they could set up their own little homestead, end quote. It has been now over 5 years since this game started its Kickstarter campaign, raising close to $168 million from backers, and now they're asking for more, it seems. Star Citizen is currently testing a 3.0 update to its Persistent Universe product. It exists only as a pre-release candidate of an alpha. When it drops, it will still be an alpha, which means bugs and significant gameplay impediments should be expected. Gary, this sounds... I mentioned in the comments, I don't know if I'm off base or anything, but this kind of feels or sounds like No Man's Sky, where they keep promising things, but the thing where it gets iffy is that it seems like these backers keep asking, or not backers, these creators, CIG, keep asking for more and more and more and more money from the backers. I remember an article back in like May or something where people were starting to get a little annoyed at CIG where they're not actually delivering the game. The fact that it's still in pre-alpha phase, I'm guessing is really frustrating. They keep promising more and more things. Now they're saying like, oh, buy this, it'll help, go towards game development. It just seems like, when are you actually going to finally sit down and release the game? Just let it go. Instead of, you keep promising these things, you keep promising it's going to be an amazing game, it's going to have all these different things, but what happened to No Man's Sky? People got pissed. People got upset that they didn't come through with all of their enormous promises.
At least with No Man's Sky, though, it was a one-time release. You paid your $60 or whatever, and then you got your free DLC after that, where you had like fort building. What else was there? They added in a story mode where you can, they added in new characters and stuff like that. At least it was free DLC. This game, they're asking for more money from you after you spent money already. On the game itself. That's where things get that's where things get worse than No Man's Sky, The
crazy thing that I'm confused by this is that a lot of times Kickstarters, especially when it comes to games, they utilize the Kickstarter as a way to get investor interest, get investors that have, a lot more money say, hey, people are actually interested in this. Let's maybe put money into it so now they can, build this game up. Instead of, it just seems like they're constantly asking for more money from the backers, constantly doing, I don't know, they were originally asking for $500,000, I think, from the original Kickstarter back in 2012, November 2012, and now they're up to $168 million they received. Like, what exactly are they planning on doing? Like, why are they still selling stuff for game development? I understand, like, their, scope gets larger and larger with the more money, but I wish they probably should have stuck with the same scope that they were originally planning on releasing, at the 500,000 mark. Like, why can't you release your original scope of what the game is, and then, I don't know, go forward with,
build on it. It's a foundation.
Build it as a foundation, and then start releasing, I don't know, free DLC or paid DLC where you can then work on it, where there people that backed you now have a legitimate product that they can play, and then you can also start incrementing more things that you add to it. But now, since you keep, I just feel like you keep putting more and more pressure on yourself. It's not going to end well, I don't think.
I can definitely see it. I agree with you, though. I mean, again, it comes down to transparency between the gaming developers and the customers. You got to show them that you're doing work and making meaningful progress on whatever it is that they're paying money for. And you got to show them that, here's our product. It's like you were saying, have a product, build on it, and then that's how you can establish that trust with your customer, instead of just being like, all right, well, this game really, we need some more stuff, but we need more money from you. So, that's not really a good way to go about it.
Especially when you're buying virtual plots of land. Like, when are you ever going to see this? Like, when is it actually going to be a thing?
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think there are pre-alpha out there where you can actually play it, but how much of it is an actual... Because I know I've seen videos where it actually looks really cool, but again, I'm not sure what actually is in the game right now, because I remember they mentioned a while back they were going to add dogfighting, like space battles with ships, but I don't know if that's an actual thing yet. I don't know, because I haven't heard too much about it. It seems like it's it only comes into the limelight when they're trying to ask for more money or doing different things with the game. I want the next thing to come out about this game. It's like, hey, we actually finally released it. Maybe it's actually in alpha phase now, not pre-alpha. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me.
How many games today? It's funny. There's been this trend lately of all these games coming out that are alpha, beta, early access. There's never a finished product out there, but it's always like, hey, here we go, unfinished. It's whatever. Pay your money. I mean, granted, like PUBG, for example, they only charged $30 for it, so it wasn't paying full price. But again, it was early access. Fortnite, early access. Although I think it might not be early access anymore. I don't know. I don't think it is.
Fortnite was just free to play because they had a game that was completely released. Like they actually legitimately released a game.
Oh yeah.
And then that's true. They added Battle Royale to it. There was early access for the Battle Royale portion, but it was like a legitimate game, and they didn't charge anything for their Battle Royale mode. So that's where actually this comes into play. The next article we're reading, apparently a mother has been defending her 14-year-old son sued by Epic over a Fortnite cheat video. So apparently last month Epic Games filed civil complaints against 2 alleged Fortnite cheaters. The pair were accused of being associated with the cheat provider Addicted Cheats, allegedly acting as the support personnel for the site and using aimbot software, quote, with the deliberate intention of ruining the game for other players and players who watch streamers, end quote. Neither defendant is actually being sued for cheating. Rather, Epic argued by using the game-breaking cheats provided by Addicted Cheats, there were, quote, infringing Epic's copyrights by injecting unauthorized computer code into the copyright-protected code, end quote. It has now come to light that one of the defendants is a 14-year-old who Epic Games sued because the teenager appealed against the developer's DMCA takedown request of a YouTube video revealing how to use cheats. Legally, Epic Games had to withdraw the DMC takedown request or file suit against the teen. The developer chose the latter. Quote, this particular lawsuit arose as a result of the defendant filing a DMCA counterclaim to a takedown notice on a YouTube video that exposed and promoted Fortnite Battle Royale cheats and exploits, end quote, said Epic Games spokesperson in a statement to Eurogamer, quote, under these circumstances, the law requires that we file suit or drop the claim. Epic is not okay with ongoing cheating or copyright infringement from anyone at any age. As previously stated, we take cheating seriously and will pursue all available options to make sure our games are fun, fair, and competitive for players, end quote. But this wasn't enough for the teenager's mother, who was less than pleased her son had been sued. The mother wrote a strongly worded letter to the court claiming her son was being used as a, quote, scapegoat, according to Torrent Freak. In the letter, the defendant's mothers made the following points. Her son did not modify the game or create cheat software as Epic Games has alleged, and Epic Games has no capability of proving any form of modification. She admits her son used pre-existing cheats and live streamed them, but, quote, a multitude of other individuals have and currently are doing this as this letter is being typed, end quote. Fortnite requires parental consent to be played by minors, which she never granted. Epic Games can now claim, quote, mass profit loss, end quote, because the game is free to play. Or Epic Games cannot claim massive profit loss because the game is free to play. She claims Epic is using her son as a scapegoat because it cannot curb cheaters. Her son's name and details were released publicly, which due to him being a minor is illegal. Her son made no money from live streaming these cheats. What's up, G?
Well, there's one problem here. I don't know who revealed his details and name and everything, but couldn't he actually sue Epic Games for drawing attention to this issue and then exposing him to the public? And he would probably win, I would assume. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like that could be a massive problem with this case for them, is that, I think this kid is wrong for doing what he did. I don't think hacking should be allowed. I think people should be actually punished for hacking, but he is 14 years old. So it's kind of hard to say, like, do you really want to sue a 14-year-old?
That's where it gets icky. Like, if it was an 18-year-old, go for it. But the fact that he's a minor and then you're putting his name out there, I mean, people, I'm sure young kids do stupid shit all the time. I don't think any minor, unless they're doing some egregious criminal activity, I don't think they really should be taken to court, I don't think, or sued for anything that they do.
What's the thing? First of all, it's like how many people are cheating right now currently in games? I mean, it isn't
so
just
many.
Fortnite, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, of all ages, and we've all done stupid things in video games. We've all said things to other people that we shouldn't have said, and it's like, would you want to be sued or thrown in jail for stuff you said when you were 13 or 14? I know I wouldn't. Come on, I was an idiot.
I said stupid crap all the time, and like I guess I can understand what was going on is that they asked him to take down the video and he didn't do it, and that's where it becomes an issue. But again, he is a minor, and other people cheat all the time. A bunch of people cheat all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty difficult thing. Gary, it's time for the Two Jersey Kids tidbit. You created that name last week. It's the quick news segment. The Two Jersey Kids tidbits. Yeah. So apparently, just stop me whenever anything pops in you want to talk about. The two new backwards compatibility games for the Xbox One X or Xbox One are Earth Defense Force 2017 and Dreamcast Classic Sonic Adventure. The former title was a physical release, while the latter was only on Xbox 360 digitally. Xbox games with gold for December. Xbox One's free games for the month will be Warhammer's End Times, Vermintide, and Back to the Future, the game, the 30th anniversary. PS Plus games for December are Darksiders 2 and Kung Fu Panda Showdown of Legendary Legends. Don't get that one. Apparently, it's the 1-year anniversary of Final Fantasy XV's launch. This past Wednesday, the studio announced plans to let you play it as one of Noxus's pals. The feature, which will be implemented at some point before the new downloadable content episode Ignis drops on December 13th, will allow you to use an overlay menu to switch to GLaDOS, Ignis, or Promptos. Each of their combat mechanics will be based on their respective DLCs. Atlas is reporting that the latest entry in their beloved dungeon-crawling RPG, Persona 5, has now topped 2 million sales worldwide, which is very good for the series that was at one point considered fairly niche. Rank play for Call of Duty World War II begins at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 1st. That's today. So it's just hours away. Actually, it's already probably happening right now. Rank play takes form of 4v4 matches with game modes including Search and Destroy, Capture the Flag, and Hardpoint. Playtonic Games has announced a release date for the Nintendo Switch version of its Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor, Yooka-Laylee. The retro-style 3D platform launches for Nintendo consoles on December 14th. And finally, a mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battleground is coming in the future. It will be a joint production between Tencent and the original game's development team, and it will at least initially only be available in China because Tencent is a China developer. The goal is for the mobile experience to be as close to its PC and console counterparts as possible. In the announcement, Tencent said that the game's shooting controls and social networking, likely referring to the in-game messaging, would be optimized for a mobile device. Gary, thoughts on the last one? Because I'm sure you do have thoughts.
I mean, the game already runs so badly on an actual PC. I guess it'll maybe be improved on mobile, but Jesus, I can't imagine playing a first-person shooter like that. Especially a battle royale where you're constantly having to look around and know your surroundings. I can't imagine playing that on a mobile device, but that's just me. I mean, that's just all I got to say about that.
All right, well, that's it for the news this week. Gary, you have anything to say before we wrap it all up?
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. It was great being here. I will be doing some more streaming next week. If anyone wants to come and talk to me, hang out and chat and everything, be cool to talk to y'all. So I know we have some listeners that actually tune in. Nikita being one of them. He's one of our chatters, and then we also have Odd, who's my moderator in my stream. He comes out and listens in and talks and everything. So yeah, it's been great being here, guys. Love talking gaming with all you. I will see you when I see you, which is next Friday.
All you Jersey kids, remember, if you're a new listener, please hit that subscribe button, and please go rate us on iTunes. It would help us out greatly. We're also available on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Pod Directory, Overcast, all those plethora of podcast app services out there. We thank you so much for listening. All you Jersey kids, we love you so much. Remember, if you hit subscribe, you become a Jersey Kid, specifically, honorary Jersey Kid. That's exciting, I know. But yeah, I am Adam Buckingham. You can follow me at Adam J. Buckingham. That is Gary Seisel at Real Scavenger 18. We are the Two Jersey Kids. We'll be here next Friday. We love you all. Have a great weekend. Keep playing those games. Bye.